Welcome to our deep dive into the complex and often turbulent history of Iran, from the days of British imperialism to the modern geopolitical standoff with the West. We'll uncover how Iran's relations with the USA, Israel, and Britain have evolved over the last century, leading to the critical turning points we witness in 2025. In the early 1900s, Iran, then known as Persia, was caught in the geopolitical struggle between the British and Russian empires. Oil, discovered in 1908, quickly turned Iran into a strategic asset. The British government formed the Anglo-Persian Oil Company in 1909, securing oil profits while leaving Iranians with little benefit. Resentment simmered as Britain dominated Iran's economy and politics. In 1921, Reza Khan, a Persian military officer, seized power and later became Reza Shah Pahlavi. Determined to modernize Iran and curb foreign influence, he secularized the state and built infrastructure, but his authoritarian rule silenced dissent. Despite efforts to reduce British control, the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company continued dominating Iran's oil sector. During World War II, Reza Shah leaned toward neutrality but showed pro-German sympathies. Fearing Nazi influence, Britain and the Soviet Union invaded Iran in 1941, deposing Reza Shah and installing his son, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. In 1951, Iran's Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh nationalized the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company, triggering outrage in London and Washington. 2 years later, the CIA and MI6 orchestrated a coup, Operation Ajax, removing Mossadegh and reinstating the Shah. This marked the beginning of deep U.S. involvement in Iranian affairs. Backed by U.S. arms and advisors, the Shah ruled with an iron fist. His White Revolution modernized Iran, but widened the gap between rich and poor. Savak, his secret police, tortured dissenters, fueling widespread resentment. The Shah was a staunch ally of the U.S. and maintained diplomatic ties with Israel, a rare move for a Muslim-majority nation. In 1979, anger over corruption, repression, and U.S. interference exploded into revolution. Led by Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, Iranians overthrew the Shah and declared an Islamic Republic. The revolution transformed Iran into a theocracy hostile to the U.S. and Israel. Relations with Britain also soured, especially after British support for the Shah's regime. Later that year, Iranian students stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding 52 Americans hostage for 444 days. The event destroyed U.S.-Iran relations, and sanctions followed. Israel severed all ties, viewing the Islamic Republic as a threat, especially as Iran backed anti-Israeli groups like Hezbollah. Saddam Hussein's Iraq invaded Iran in 1980, sparking an 8-year war. The West, including the US, UK, and indirectly Israel, supported Iraq. Despite chemical attacks and mass casualties, Iran held the line. The war deeply shaped Iran's view of Western betrayal and increased its defense and missile capabilities. The 1990s saw attempts at reform under President Khatami, but hardliners kept power. In the 2000s, Iran began advancing its nuclear program, claiming peaceful intentions. The US, Britain, and Israel accused Iran of seeking nuclear weapons. Israel considered it an existential threat. Sanctions and threats of war mounted. In 2015, Iran signed the JCPOA with the US, UK, and other world powers, agreeing to curb its nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief. But in 2018, President Trump withdrew from the deal, reigniting tensions. Israel opposed the deal, and Iran resumed enrichment. Proxies like Hezbollah and militias in Iraq remained flashpoints for conflict. In 2020, the U.S. assassinated General Qasem Soleimani, a key Iranian military commander. Iran retaliated with missile strikes on U.S. bases. Israel conducted cyberattacks and assassinated Iranian nuclear scientists. Britain took a backseat diplomatically but aligned with U.S. sanctions. By 2025, Iran and Israel's shadow war exploded into direct conflict. After years of proxy clashes, cyberattacks, and covert operations, Israel launched strikes on Iran's nuclear sites in Isfahan and Natanz in June 2025. Iran retaliated with missile salvos at Israeli cities. The U.S. urged de-escalation, but its navy in the Gulf remains on alert. Today, Iran stands isolated yet defiant. Its rivalry with Israel, tension with the U.S., and historical resentment toward Britain continue to shape its policies. Internally, economic hardship and protests push against the regime. But externally, Iran remains a formidable regional player with alliances in Syria, Iraq, and Lebanon. From British oil domination to CIA coups, Islamic Revolution to near war in 2025, Iran's history with the US, Israel, and Britain is a story of resistance, betrayal, ambition, and survival. Understanding this past is essential to grasp today's tensions, and perhaps to chart a future where diplomacy triumphs over destruction. Thanks for watching. If you found this deep dive informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments. What do you think the future holds for Iran and its relationship with the West?